Number 10. FNAF World Halloween Edition. This one came later, and yet there were still some folks who kind of fell for it. Mostly though, I think many of us just enjoy these pranks and buy into them because we want to see what Scott has cooked up this time around. He's just so good at trolling. With FNAF World Halloween Edition, it was released on October 28th of 2015, with a hacker by the username of lols_hacks, claiming they had gotten the files for FNAF World and were going to release them for free. When the files were released, as promised, it turned out to be FNAF World Halloween Edition, which was actually just a reskin of Scott Cawthon's old game, Fighter Mage Bard, and where these 3 classes that were in that game were reskinned as Freddy, Bonnie, and of course Chica. Turned out that lols_hacks was of course none other than Scott himself, once more trolling us. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Gaming, you need to go check out our newest channel, Most Amazing Top 10 Anime. Go on over, hit that subscribe, and tell them I sent you. Number 9. FNAF 6 Cancelled. This one may have been less of a troll and more of like an actual post. I'm not even sure. That's how good this troll is. With Scott, it's hard to tell. The actual update to this Steam community post had him claiming that he'd actually never troll us. So once again, I'm pretty skeptical because yeah, saying that, you know, I would never troll you guys, would I? When you already have? Sounds like a troll to me. Troll alarm going off. We know that that ain't true. He's definitely trolled us in the past. In a post he made in June of 2017, Scott claimed he wanted to stop working on FNAF 6 and didn't want his next FNAF game to be something big and grandiose, just something light and fun. He even joked about making a pizzeria tycoon game instead, and yet we know what happened. We all know, which makes us think this post was actually intended to troll, as FNAF 6 did of course later came out. It was light and fun and was a pizzeria tycoon game, sure, but it was also only released a short while later and had major lore implications and narrative points divulged within it. So I gotta say, in retrospect, this seems like once again another troll, but cleverly disguised as a real post. Number 8. Foxy Fighters. Foxy Fighters was a game that was designed as a mini game and added to FNAF World after the 1.2 update. It was a fun little game where you controlled Foxy in a little plane that is armed with, well, like a little weapon. I wouldn't call it a fighter jet, but technically it's designed similar to one, although its look is radically different from most fighter jets in the real world. Foxy is controlled using the WASD keys on the computer, and to fire you just hit shift. It's a simply designed little game, and at one point Scott claimed he actually wanted to potentially work on a game that was all Foxy Fighter, sharing that he had so much fun making it just as a little game for fans to add into the FNAF world. Well, I do believe he did have fun making it. I think when he shared his potential interest in turning it into a full-fledged spin-off game all its own, it was definitely a form of a troll, because I don't see that ever happening. Number 7. FNAF 3. This troll happened while FNAF 3 was still in development. Scott took to Steam Greenlight to share that the third game had actually been cancelled because someone had leaked it all on GameJolt, and in frustration, he would be tossing in the towel on it. Scott claimed this had happened as a result of him being hacked. However, when you went to the page on GameJolt and you downloaded that game, it wasn't actually FNAF 3, but instead it was a game with a FNAF 3 inspired loading menu that was actually a reskin of one of Scott's older games. There is no pause button. Many fans freaked though before discovering this, and of course that Scott himself was actually behind the troll, because of course he was. Number 6. Ultimate Custom Night Demo. One of the latest in the line of game trolls we've gotten from Scott is Ultimate Custom Night Demo. This was released to the general public, but it turned out to just be a prank. While the actual demo did exist, it was only given to professional gaming YouTubers to do playthroughs and review the game prior to its release. The publicly released demo was actually a reskin of Scott Cawthon's very first computer game from 1989, Doofus the Dinosaur. Once again, faces and characters were replaced, or rather reskinned, to look like familiar FNAF characters and animatronics in each level of the game. Number 5. HTML Feud. There have been a few times that Scott has shared that game making is simply too much stress for him, and although I imagine that actually must be true sometimes, especially with all of us expecting so much from him, I don't think any of us believed that he didn't enjoy working on FNAF, right? At least we hoped it wasn't true. But when he started to hide arguments in the HTML code of his sites, where it seemed to make it seem like they were arguing with each other, fans thought for sure that his claims of being overworked and overstressed from constantly aiming to outdo himself were all part of some greater ploy. we didn't buy it. And that, of course, the HTML feud was none other than him creating some fun and fake drama in relation to the story of the next game, which at this time, of course, was FNAF 6. And it turned out, while this was planned to seem as though there was a fight going on, it was of course only in relation to that narrative in the games, with the fight likely resembling the one within Ennard between all the shared consciousness of animatronics. Number 4. Help Wanted. Scott is not above poking fun at himself or the franchise and enjoys trolling us even within the game and the world of FNAF. Case in point, his actual appearance in Help Wanted. Not in the flesh, but in picture form, implying that the games we play are created within the very world of FNAF itself and tarnish the reputation of Fazbear Entertainment, even as we play mini-games in the VR game inspired by the previous games themselves, which are apparently in the world, but also, I guess, actually happen. It is a meta paradox that we are in. It's a meta paradox, or at least that's what it feels like. Scott's picture is thrown up, and he is referred to as a nameless indie game developer who made said games, which of course is true, but also in the world of FNAF, it breaks my brain. Number 3. Fun little game. When Scott commits to a troll, he definitely doubles down. This happened with FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator when Scott revealed that the screenshots he'd revealed for the game prior to its release were accurate to the tone, and that it was just supposed to be a light, fun game for fans to enjoy. It wasn't supposed to be a major release, he said. And having received negative feedback on the poor quality based on the screenshots, he just wanted to clarify. He wanted to clarify. But he wasn't really clarifying, really, was he? He was trolling us again. He wanted to troll us. He saw people coming for him and he's like, I see an opportunity to troll people by doubling down. As we learn when FNAF 6 was released, and it wasn't just a fun, light little game for the community, it was undoubtedly a major release. It was fun and light, but also very dark. Number 2. Sister Location MA. Sister Location mature. As time went on, so too did the trolls, and I think they also got better too as time went on. Just my personal opinion. One of my favorite troll moments actually comes in association with one of my all-time favorite FNAF games, Sister Location. Now with Sister Location, just as the game was nearing its release date, Scott put out a statement claiming that the game, it actually might be too dark for release at this point, and he said he was thinking about spending another 6 months of development on it to make it more family friendly. The mature or MA version was shared, but it turned out it was once again just Scott trolling us. The real Sister Location was a bit darker, but still safe enough for all audiences and was released the next day as planned. So it's all good. Wasn't mature enough for that rating. Number 1. Pizzeria Simulator. When you think about it, FNAF 6 itself was kind of like a troll all on its own. A really great troll though. An admirable troll that was also actually FNAF 6. Why do I consider FNAF 6 a troll? Because it appeared as a harmless pizzeria simulator even when you started playing it, but in reality, as time goes on, you learn it is a dark, depressing story covered in fake glitz, fun, and glam. Well, some real fun, glitz, and glam, I think, but also it's really dark. It wasn't a game that you could skip either, like was implied before. The story tied into this game was actually relevant to the whole franchise and the main narrative. So although it seemed light, it was still just as convoluted, necessary, and complex as other games that we'd had in the past. That also is kind of what makes FNAF 6 so great. It is the troll vibes of Scott Cawthon that we've enjoyed in the past made manifest in game form. Maybe the best kind of troll out there. I feel like game trolls are great, especially when you play games and you're like, I think I know what this is, and then they're like, whoa, no, you don't. I surprised you. You thought this was a fun dating sim? It's a horror game.
It attends phantoms. The phantom animatronics from FNAF 3 are the scariest things in that game, aside from the backstory. The design of the animatronics may be simple, but the idea that the jump scare doesn't end your game and in fact makes you panic is actually genius. However, with that being said, eventually you figure out the signs for when they're about to appear. For example, you check a camera and Phantom Foxy is blocking it. The minute you close the camera, you're going to get jump scared and something will malfunction. Once you know the signs, the jump scares won't really be able to get to you, and once these stop getting to you, you won't really be scared by this game anymore, and I'll get to why later on. But at least the phantoms add some unpredictability to the game, but only in the form of mechanics. Making sure that no strategy will ever be foolproof, not unpredictability in the scares, because Like I literally just said, you can guess those fairly easily. And at 9, scrapped. The scrapped animatronic jump scares could be surprising if you're just like chilling in your office playing Fruity Maze. However, when interviewing or testing them when you first get them out of the back alley, the scariest thing in this jump scare is actually just the sound. After that, you're okay because they just stand up a little bit. Like when you don't get the loan that you wanted at the bank and then you start standing up because you think like, how could they do this to me? Or like, I guess characters in movies and TV do that, because I guess most of the people watching, I doubt that you've tried to get a loan from the bank, let alone failed. But everyone on TV always stands up. That's it though. That's all this jump scare is, nothing more. They move forward a little bit, but they're not just like suddenly in your face. They're not slashing at your throat. They're like, hey, I'm functional, which is just kind of lame. But if they get into your office, that's a different story. That's a different jump scare entirely. And at 8, Jacko Chica. Jacko Chica is a scary animatronic. Being introduced in the FNAF 4 Halloween update and later making it into Help Wanted's DLC, I want to avoid this animatronic. Okay, I always wanted to. However, in the Pirate Ride minigame, it may actually be impossible. No, I know. No, that's right. In the second helpy section that gets revealed, the one at the end of the level, you get taken through the back rooms of the pizza place, and one of which appears to be the kitchen, where Chica is standing outside. To get her to move out of your way, you must hit a scrolling red button to call her back inside. If you miss this, however, she will turn around and run at you. The jump scare is easy, because you see it coming. You literally watch as her chicken feet slap the floor as she sprints full force at you. Like one of those like, oh, this is what ducks' feet sound like on different surfaces TikToks. She just comes at you like you're a freshly cooked pizza pie, but you see her coming, so you know when the scare is coming too. And at 7, the puppet. The puppet, while having a spooky backstory, isn't the scariest looking animatronic. The character is just a tall puppet and doesn't really have much else going for it. It's just a tall lanky bean like me, aside from the tall. But this jump scare is also predictable if you're paying attention to the music box, and especially in the case of FNAF VR, since you literally see the puppet walking down the hallway like this. Literally like this. It's the weirdest thing. The first time in the entire series where we actually see the character walking with their feet touching the floor. And they walk easier than Ballora. Sure, we see Nightmare on the floor in FNAF 4, but that's not the puppet, only a fearful reflection. And we never see the character's feet, okay? I figured it was just floating around, which would also make sense because honestly, this puppet skips leg day more than me. And I only work out when I go to like a ninja warrior training course, okay? But seriously, the puppet is like the least scary animatronic, and that's on a list that includes less scary characters, okay? Some even are supposed to help you, or at least test your ball pit. The walking like this is really what sells it for me. And at 6, minigames. FNAF 2's minigames were some of the most confusing but helpful parts of FNAF 2's story. Little between-night minigames that would help break up the stress of those nights. However, they would also still get you with a jump scare related to the character in that minigame. When the minigame ended, you'd get jump scared, leaving us petrified. The first time. However, after that, we instantly knew what to expect and when to expect it, leaving the jump scare to maybe shake us at most, solely due to the noise that plays along with the character jumping at you, which is unfortunate. It's desensitization at its finest, in its purest form. Halfway through at number 5, Balloon Boy. Balloon Boy isn't a scary animatronic, okay? The dude just looks like he's a dealer on like a grudge match against the man or something. What is Balloon Boy's deal anyway? Like he messes with the lights, okay, so what? The poltergeist in my apartment does the same thing when I'm sleeping. Why would I care about a little dude running around carrying a bunch of balloons like he just discovered that helium can change your voice or something? Get a life, Balloon Boy. Get out of my office. Like, don't make me call your mom. Like, what are you doing? Try sulfur hexafluoride. That makes your voice deeper. You fucking need it, you narc. And at 4, Mangle. Mangle's jump scare from Ultimate Custom Night is sad in my opinion. It feels like I didn't get my money's worth out of the game, and like it feels like it's really a FNAF fan game instead. Why? Because it's just a static picture that gets shaken around on screen. And I'm pretty sure the same thing goes for Nightmare Mangle too, just a PNG that gets shaken around a little bit, like me when I was a baby. There's not much to do with it other than a noise, okay? That's it. And while the noise may do a little bit for you, you usually need the visual to help enhance the effect. You need to shock multiple senses. Honestly, a lot of the Ultimate Custom Night jump scares are like this. I'm sure that you've been able to tell that, okay? I had a few of them on this list. It's unfortunate, but I understand not wanting to animate like 50 different animatronics. That would suck, but like, come on, Scott. Come on. Getting close to the end, and at number 3, Helpy. Helpy from Ultimate Custom Night is another one of those jump scares that is really just a static image being shaken around, which isn't really that bad to begin with, but throw in the fact that Helpy is probably the most adorable and friendly looking animatronic, and his jump scare doesn't even end the game, and you're fine. It doesn't make things any worse either. He doesn't activate music, man. He doesn't kill you. He just wants to say hi. His jump scare noise is even the MLG horn sound effect just sped up a little bit. Helpy is literally cheering you on while you play through one of the most stressful games in existence. That's like when everyone thought Foxy was trying to help out in the original FNAF game, except this time it's legit. He's just being a bro and giving you the love and support that we all need and should be getting. Whether it's from our other bros, gals, or significant bro or gal. Yeah. Any loved one in my life needs to hype me up as much as Helpy was, okay? Or it ain't worth it. That's my standard, okay? The bar's being raised. Ironically,
I wrote this while I was...
penultimately, in at number 2, Grim Foxy. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The glory and actual scare of a jump scare comes from the surprise factor. The fact that you don't know when it's coming, or maybe you had like the build up beforehand. Grim Foxy in the Corn Maze minigame is quite possibly the most anticipated and expected jump scare out of every single game and every single animatronic in the series. You literally get notified by in-game sounds when he notices you, and then you have a decent amount of time to hide before he actually catches up. Dude runs like this.
He runs like this fast. It's...
You have so much time that I was able to recite whole vines in a live stream before he actually caught up to me. Like, don't get me wrong. When he did get me, I was acting scared, okay? I'm sorry, but it's true, okay? I wasn't actually scared. The scarier thing was my coworkers trying to put me on edge and trying to bust into the office to scare me, which I ended up catching on that stream because they didn't think that I would have locked the door when I was in VR. Yeah, if you have time to prepare for the scare, okay, it's not scary. And finally, in at number 1, Springtrap. I understand that most of you may find Springtrap to be a scary character, and that's understandable. No, it's not. It's stupid, okay? His backstory is creepy. Yeah, he's the killer of the series, and he's still alive in the suit after plenty of metal was shoved into his body at the speed of spring locks, but he's mid. He's mid, to quote TikTok comments. So you'd figure his jump scare should be the scariest though, right? Because, like, you know, he's the killer, haha. Well, while the noise that plays may be scary, Springtrap himself does little but move around in a zigzag while slowly making his way towards the player. Like, come on, man, you're a killer. I understand that, like, you're in your murder suit and you're calm and collected, but dude, this could have been the scariest game in the series, and because, like, the design of Springtrap is chilling, but it was so bad and the fans were so disappointed with it that Scott ended up extending the series since it was meant to be the final game. He actually said this in an interview with Daco. FNAF 3 was meant to be the final game in the FNAF series. Damn. But yeah, something that bad definitely deserves to be number 1. He made Scott rethink the entire series. Springtrap's the reason we have 10 FNAF games. Shoot me. And at 10, Real Freddy's. A load of people couldn't tell if I was being serious or not when the shorts we made about this topic came out, but I guarantee you that it was actually real. This isn't something that I was making up. It wasn't a hoax. It's actually a thing, okay? Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is real, or, well, it was going to be, because the company that made Mr. Beast Burger possible, called Virtual Dining Concepts, did announce that they had partnered with Scott Cawthon to take the first ever fictional video game setting and turn it into a real-life delivery restaurant. Emphasis on that delivery part, however, because I cannot stress it enough. There was no actual location that you could have walked into. And it's really happening, or at least it Since, if you check out the Virtual Dining Concepts website now, there is no Freddy Fazbear's Pizza delivery page. And it seems like between September 30th and December 4th of 2022, they removed it off of their brands page. But there was also still a page that existed for it until December 4th, according to Wayback Machine. It's certainly an interesting situation, but yeah, it seems like nothing is actually going to happen. Maybe they canceled it, maybe they didn't. I tweeted about it, and the account that was the official account for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Delivery just replied with a frowny face. So I don't know, do you think it's gonna happen? And if it does, and it releases this year, I'm gonna celebrate, because I called that years ago, okay? Not because it happened, but because I called it. In a 9th final battle, during the true ending or the Afton ending, the burn trap ending, whatever you want to call it in Security Breach, everything we experience is so frickin' improbable, okay? Like beyond even protagonist standards. We have to fend off burn trap's attempts to take control of Freddy by setting him on fire, using what are most likely the mechanisms that Henry used to set the building on fire in FNAF 6, since it's the same one. However, it's incredibly thoughtful of the ground to only give out at the perfect moments that we fall into the room that we need to have this battle, with very easy to understand monitors that are set up and connected to cameras in the various rooms that Burn Trap enters, and only those rooms, he only goes into those rooms, and with buttons that light fires in the room that corresponds to what monitor it's on. Plus, I mean, like if you think about it, how are these still working? It has clearly been a while. These cameras and old computers are still working for an unknown amount of years after being set on fire in FNAF 6, which was enough to ruin the building, and then not to mention falling into a sinkhole that had opened up beneath it, having a whole pizzaplex built on top of it, and who knows what else. How is all of this working after that? And not only after that, but these computer monitors as well are literal dinosaurs, okay? Like, how did they work before the fire, let alone after it, okay? My parents have a monitor like this and it doesn't work, and I'm pretty sure we didn't throw it in a sinkhole. And it ain't killing where you eat. The biggest mistake that William ever made, and I will stand by this until the day that I die, was the fact that he killed people in his establishment. It's unknown if this was always his intention, but come on, okay? Who the absolute hell thinks that this is a good idea? Who in the comments wants to justify killing your prime demographic in that place of business? Dealers don't kill their best customers, right? It's bad for business. So why would William think that this is a good idea? Literally go anywhere else, okay? It's basically like killing someone in your own house. It's putting unwanted and unneeded scrutiny on every single thing that you do. You even end up getting banned from going back in while the investigation is underway. And it's not like it helped your business, okay? You had to close the first location, resulting in you having to open another one that killed your daughter. So I think that this mistake is the one that caused literally everything in the series. Yeah, all you had to do was kill someone in a park instead. And your kids would be alive too, by the way. Yeah, you'd also be harder to suspect, and you'd be rich from the business. Wow. In its 7th Brave Volunteer. I think one of the darkest moments ever presented to us in any FNAF game is when we're trapped in the FNAF 6 pizzeria by Henry without the choice of escape. Without the choice to keep living, honestly. And before you say that this is what we wanted, remember how Henry says that the job in that game wasn't meant for us, which means that it was either meant for someone else or was just an open call, but either way, he still says, I think this is what you want, or I have a feeling, not I know, he thinks, meaning it's an assumption. Even though there is a way out plan for whoever was supposed to get the job, we aren't given the option. We aren't told where the exit is just in case. Henry just assumes that we want to burn to death along with everything else, which does not make sense. Sure, you want to destroy all of the evidence, but there's still, let's go over this, newspaper articles, maybe online articles now, given on how long the series had taken place up until FNAF 6. The games that Scott made in universe, the police reports, the families of the victims. And you were gonna let whoever worked here instead of us go with the exit despite them seeing everything that happened in this game. Yeah, it seems kinda sus to me. And it's even weirder that we can't search for a way out. This should have been an impossible scene, but you know what? It still happened, and I'm mad. In its 6th Princess Quest. The whole reason Princess Quest is a thing in Security Breach was to seemingly lock Vanessa away and prevent her from regaining control of her body. So, why did William create or allow for the creation of a failsafe that allows her to escape? Come on. I mean, sure, they didn't expect some random kid to come along and figure it out maybe, but given the track record of this series, you'd think that Afton would have smartened up after like 40 years at least. But it's like any Bond villain this time around. They have a self-destruct button on the bomb that they plan to use. Or if like the Flash had a steal all my speed button on his suit. It's just stupid. And you know what, it worries me that that's actually how the Flash series could end. But like still, okay, if you want something to work, why give it a way to fail? If you tie someone up, why put a knife right next to them? I don't know. Does that make sense, or is that just my developmental issues coming into play? No matter what, this is one of the dumbest things that has ever happened in the series. Seriously, what was the point behind a way to undo your evil plans? It's one of the most ridiculous things in the story, and that's saying a lot. I get that it's so that we can save her and have like the best ending, but that ending isn't even canon. So we could have done without it. And if you want to hear me scream about FNAF more, be sure you hit subscribe, because I do it, and I do it a bit. A lot. Halfway through into number 5, Springtrap's Revenge. One of the many questionable business decisions from Fazbear Entertainment, and straight up at this point, this company has like a Vatican library full of bad business decisions. But Springtrap's Revenge is a VR game that was the subject of the Fazbear Fright story in the flesh from Bunny Call, the 5th book in the series, which was supposed to be the end. The story revolves around a game theorist, I mean a game developer named Matt, who creates a Springtrap AI using all of his anger from a divorced and failed relationship, or multiple of them. And then, you know how emotions work in this game, it turns Springtrap sentient. Cause, you know, reasons. The game ends up getting too difficult, so instead Matt reprograms the game to actually torture Springtrap because he ended up getting mad at the computer AI. Yeah, then Springtrap goes nuts. But my question is, why would they make a whole VR game surrounding Springtrap and trying to survive him, when he was literally a real-life serial killer in your reality and your CEO? Sure, in our world we wouldn't really care, because, you know, Springtrap's not real. But it's not like Valve or Stress Level Zero is going around making like a Ted Bundy simulator or John Wayne Gacy survival game. No, because that would be in poor taste and way too real for anyone related to the victims of these people. So why would Fazbear Entertainment willingly make a video game revolving around the killer that ruined their reputation in the first place? It seems like a horrible idea to me. And for Free Freddy. Okay, most of my gripes are with Security Breach, I will admit, for obvious reasons. I mean, have you played the game? But in the past, I have talked a lot about the parts and service section of the game, because Gregory seems to get extremely lucky at multiple points in this chapter. However, the luckiest and the most impossible, I think, comes after Vanessa leaves Freddy in parts and service. She says that his casing is going to be put on a new endoskeleton, and after at least corporate gives the go-ahead or the green light or whatever they have to do, because someone, you know, they bring someone in on the clock to actually do it. But she doesn't seem suspicious that after she leaves him disassembled and strapped down, that he's walking around Rockstar Row 3 minutes later. Like, come on, okay? Who would have repaired him? I don't know. He couldn't have done it himself. His hands are literally strapped to the table. There is literally no other living human in the Pizzaplex at this point aside from Gregory. And, you know, the whole containment cylinder thing is used to protect humans. So robots obviously aren't the ones doing the fixing. Okay, there are no staff bots in parts and service. And the reason you had to leave him there was because nobody else was working since it was after midnight. Why would Vanessa be so nonchalant about Freddy walking around after that? If I was a doctor and I left a patient sedated on a hospital bed with their chest opened, you know, and then like 3 minutes later they come say hi to me with their chest closed, I'm not gonna be like, oh hey, what's up? No, I'm gonna be concerned. So why does she just chill? She's just like, oh yeah, what's up, Freddy? I don't get it.
Okay, why would she not confine him to his room after that, especially after she just accused him of helping Gregory? Getting close to the end, and at number 3, hiding spot. This is why I think at some point I'm going to get accused of being a serial killer, okay? Because of how much I complain about Afton's just blatant stupidity. How the absolute living hell did he end up getting away with putting the missing children victims into the animatronics? The smell of rotting bodies would ruin the place, alright? The heat from the animatronics insides when they're moving would only speed up decomp, and the animatronics are in front of people every single day. They even started complaining that they started leaking blood and mucus, as well as being compared to corpses. If this was real life and William getting away with this wasn't important to the plot, he would have been caught instantly. I don't know how this wasn't an open and shut case straight up. But ultimately, in at number 2, doors. If you didn't know that this was going to be on the list, you haven't been watching this channel enough. Why? Why do they open when the power is out? That makes no sense. Everyone keeps telling me that it's like electromagnets and that's the kind of thing, but like, whenever I bring this up, it doesn't work like that, okay? Electromagnets require power to turn on, so if anything, it would be costing power to keep the doors open rather than closed. Gravity doesn't work in reverse. If the magnet is off, the door would just fall down, okay? I get that it's supposed to be for gameplay purposes, but in what universe does this make sense? There is no conceivable way that these doors should have worked in that way, but they do. They do, and it makes me mad. It's the reason I go to therapy. It's the reason I'm screaming in all of these videos. It's the frickin' doors, alright? It is. And finally, in at number 1, crying child. I've had a ton of people complain to me about how crying child's death wasn't William's fault, even though I keep saying that it is, since he wasn't the one who put his head in Fredbear's mouth, and you know, the spring locks failed because he was crying. But to me, there is no logical way that the animatronic jaw would have crushed his skull. The spring locks were already active at this point and would require a lot of power to actually accomplish like this instead of just normal opening and closing. So the only way that Crying Child's skull could have been crushed was if Afton had intentionally supercharged the animatronic, which would make sense if he wanted to use it as a kill machine or a backup kill suit, or maybe it was his original plan, figuring that more power would, you know, help him kill, which clearly it does, just in the worst way possible. And there's no way that this is a springlock failure. The Fredbear suit was already in animatronic mode, meaning that these springlock mechanisms that could fail, that are, you know, the ones that are used to keep the robot parts out so that someone can be in the suit, aren't being used because no one's in the suit. The springlock failure problem comes from when these mechanisms are put under stress and then can snap back into place. But if they're already in place, they can't snap back into place. If it's in robot mode, they aren't being used. And also, there's none in the mouth to begin with, it's open. Meaning that what happened should have been impossible unless it was supercharged. So unless you finally want to accept that, it belongs on this list. In at 10, Chica's Chase. If I'm honest, this is the mod of my dreams. Not because I've had a dream about it, okay, but because this is a dream that I want to have. With this mod installed, at random times, Chica will start to chase the player suddenly. But not just one Chica, a whole horde of them. And yes, I absolutely mean that as a pun, you did not hear the emphasis wrong. To not only be chased by one, but multiple women is actually the dream, or I guess maybe it was the dream after I got my soul absolutely decimated, or maybe it was like that one commercial that literally like every Canadian 90s kid should remember. You know, like the one where the kid is like running from like the 3 girls, but he can't run anymore, so they catch up to him. The logo filacho tree. You know that one? I mean, come on. You need to know it. It was just for a message saying to stay fit just in case, implying that being active would actually have unexpected benefits, but I don't know why they thought a kid who wasn't active and needed that reminder would have to run away from girls. In my experience, they only liked the kids who played sports, but I don't know, maybe you should have had some like superhero action saying that I could be like Spider-Man if I was active or something. That might have done more, but still. Yeah, I like this mod. In at 9, Bigger Chica. There are separate Bigger Roxy and Bigger Chica mods, but there's also one on the Nexus that makes both Chica and Roxy, quote, bigger in certain areas, as the mod author describes it. God, like, okay, I understand that sex sells, but seriously,
Why with animatronics? Chica is already pretty damn thick, especially if you look at Toy Chica. Okay, and Roxy seems to have a lot of fans based off her original version as well. So like, why did we need to expand them? Literally speaking. Like, when we can just leave them the way they are, and then you can admire them for their natural, constructed by man and made of plastic figures, I guess. Or hear me out, we don't worry about it at all, okay? Unless I'm talking about Chica, which this whole list is about, okay? I don't know if I'll be talking about Chica until I get a girlfriend, honestly, at this point. Or maybe talking about Chica is preventing me from getting a girl. Oh well, either way, at least I have Chica until I don't need her anymore, which is proving to take longer than I had hoped. In at 8, Fan Game Trio. The Fan Game Trio mod pack is a mod that replaces Toy Bonnie as Pop Goes the Weasel, Toy Chica as Candy the Cat, and Withered Bonnie as Ignited Bonnie in Ultimate Custom Night. These characters are from 3 of the most popular FNAF fan games, Pop Goes, Five Nights at Candy's, and The Joy of Creation. Ironically, all of which are actually coming to the Fazbear Extended Universe thanks to the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative. Which is certainly interesting, since this mod for Ultimate Custom Night was released in 2019, meaning it predates the announcement for the Fanverse. So technically, this mod, in a way, could, in theory, be canon. But I'm not going to get into this list because that would drive me crazy. I'll let matpat deal with that, even though I know for a fact that he won't, because let's be honest, he shouldn't even try to step up to me. I say that only because he has absolutely no idea who I am, and I'm okay with that, but like, still, yeah. If you wanted to experience the Fazbear Extended Universe, there you go. But all you need is this mod by Elite Robo, but since this replaces Toy Chica, the original dummy thick Chica, I think it counts for this list. However, it is a sin to replace our thick mommy with Candy the Cat. In at 7, Classic Glamrock Chica. This mod is described as a retexture for the Glamrock animatronics meant to be inspired by original early game designs for the characters, with the exception being that Monty and Roxy are new characters, but with color schemes reflecting the characters that they're replacing on the roster, with Roxy looking like Foxy, being called Roxy the Pirate Wolf, and Monty being Montgomery Gator, and inspired by Bonnie, of course. But considering how Chica's coloring is based on Toy Chica in this mod, I think we can see where I'm going with this and why this mod is on this list. Like I said, Toy Chica is the original dummy thick animatronic, so sending the Glamrock version back to her roots is definitely going to get some people going crazy. Not me, obviously, because FNAF 2 Chica didn't want me and I prefer Glamrock Chica, but this also brings up a disturbing point. Chica in Security Breach is white. Like, just plain old white. Whereas in the previous games, she was yellow. Which suggests that only now Chica is an adult chicken, since baby chickens are yellow, whereas adult ones are white. This mod, in a sense, solves that issue, because if her feathers are never white, then she's just like a chicken anomaly that stays yellow forever, just like the AM Samani chickens, like the goth chickens, the ones that are all black, it's like that. But it would be Chica. And at 6, Ignited Chica. This one is scary because, well, it replaces the normally soothing and loving Glamrock Chica with Ignited Chica from the Joy of Creation game. The game that's referenced on 2 arcade machine types able to be found throughout the Pizzaplex. But that's absolutely terrifying since, you know, the whole point of that game is that you play as Scott Cawthon and his family trying to escape the horrors that have come out of the games and want revenge on you for giving up the series. I think you can get why this is here now. And I mean, like, it replaces the dummy thick Chica we would get normally, which is a cardinal sin. It is a sin against the commandments written upon the FNAF stones. Thou shalt not block the thickness. And this model literally removes half of Chica's body in a fashion that's so gruesome it makes Springtrap look normal. Okay, it would have been fun if she was either still smoldering a little bit maybe, or like if she left scorch prints on the floor for a couple seconds before they vanished, but she doesn't, so sin. How we doing at number 5? Glam Chica in FNAF 1. Ah yes, a FNAF 1 mod, which is kind of crazy actually. With this mod, you get exactly what you'd expect. It's what it says on the packaging. This mod adds Glamrock Chica from Security Breach into FNAF 1. It requires text mod in order to run properly, but other than that, you're all set. I mean, it just puts still images of Chica on the cameras and to replace the normal Chica. And from the looks of things, it's not really like excellently done. It's just like, you know, pictures of Chica instead of making it actually seem like they're a 3D model in the world. But I mean, like, at this point, I'll take what I can get, right? I'd rather have Glamrock Chica hunting me down in FNAF 1 than normal Chica, okay? And if the last mod goes against the commandments by replacing the thickness, then this mod is like the one that will save our souls and allow us to join the FNAF gods. Adding the thickness
to where it once was not is nothing short of godlike. And at 4, Guardian Swap. For those of you who wanted to choose your Guardian DLC, so mostly you could try to get inside Chica, here you go. This is the perfect mod for you. No, why would I have that downloaded? What are you talking about? This is a Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica model swap, and I mean, like, it doesn't really change the poses or anything like that, meaning that Freddy will act the same way as Chica and vice versa, but it's still certainly an interesting mod that I'm pretty sure plenty of people are going to use for plenty of things, all of which are normal and not sinful in the slightest, I'm sure. I don't know why you would suggest such a thing on a list about dummy thick Chica mods. Why are you saying that this is for other purposes? Damn, get your mind out of the gutter. Some of the issues with this mod, however, seem to have at least included Freddy still being the parts and service model, subtitles still saying that Freddy is talking, and I'm not actually sure if the lines got revoiced, but it's a possibility. But if the captions are saying that it's Freddy, I doubt the lines are dubbed, or I guess would have to be spliced together, so that's unfortunate. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, FNAF 1 Shadow Chica. FNAF 1 Shadow Chica is once again exactly what you see on the packaging. This mod changes Chica's textures to give her a more shadowy look. The mod author, Octoling Zinna, a author for a good amount of these mods actually, forgot to edit her stage images though, so her on stage is normal Chica, but when she comes off she becomes Shadow Chica, which honestly I feel like is kind of more realistic in a sense, because like there's light shining on her on the stage. And I mean, considering how it's a shadow animatronic, literally anything can really make sense. Like out of everything in the FNAF series, the shadow animatronics are some of the most insane bits of lore in the series. They don't make sense even in FNAF's flawed logic, where doors can close and use power when there's literally no way that it would make sense if they came down instead of coming up from the ground. And yes, I'm using this as a way to complain about the goddamn doors again. Okay, and I also just provided a simple solution that would have made everything work well. You just have the doors come up out of the ground, and then the whole using power to close thing makes sense, but it doesn't if they're coming down, okay? You're just using gravity. Gravity doesn't use power. And ultimately, in at number 2, Play as Glamrock Chica. Coming from the YouTube channel Dak Blake, the Play as Chica mod enables you to, well, play as Chica in Security Breach. You also need to chase Gregory around the Pizzaplex, who actually has a custom AI with this mod, and it includes new custom AIs, new abilities. It's almost like Security Breach got a DLC. This mod is made by Cocosco, and with it, they were able to actually make their own Security Breach cutscenes and even have their own secret endings, which is freaking nuts. However, it doesn't seem like this mod is free for anyone to download. I couldn't find a download link, but maybe it's available on a Patreon somewhere, either Dak Blake's or Cocosco's, if either of them have one. It's definitely unfortunate though, because I think we all know that I would want to play as my girl hunting down the actual psychopath that is Gregory, because honestly, Gregory's the bad guy of Security Breach. But I can also understand why they wouldn't release it to the public, okay? Because like the minute they do, the internet is flooded with playing as Chica videos, and their original video probably gets lost to the algorithm as YouTube prioritizes the newer videos. Or at least I think that's how the algorithm works. I still don't entirely understand it. And finally, in at number 1, Bear animatronics. And no, I don't mean everyone is a version of Freddy Fazbear. This mod is about animatronics without those colored pieces of plastic that simulate clothing, but then it also replaces them so that they aren't showing their bare endoskeleton, if you know what I mean. This is another mod that I felt I had to put on this list, and there was no way I was putting it at the beginning. This is all why you came here, and honestly, I can't actually say the name of the mod without getting in trouble from the YouTube gods above. Those being Susan and the rest of YouTube's subjugated AI servants. However, they're not clothed, okay? It's very concerning in my opinion, because like people keep DMing me to download this mod, but I literally can't. I don't know why you're asking me. This mod removes the clothing, air quotes, on both Roxy and Chica, leaving them exposed, and it also enlarges things as well. So clearly it's not a viable option for a YouTube playthrough, okay? Although a Patreon I guess isn't out of the question. Does anyone have like gaming OnlyFans? Is that a thing? I don't know, that'd be funny. Either way, okay, what the living hell? Why is this a mod? But also, again, why are they so well endowed? Oh Lord, sweet heavens to Betsy. Like, at least if you're gonna make this mod, make it somewhat more realistic, because like now it feels like they're wearing some like extreme high tier compression fabric like Vanny when you use the Fat Vanessa mod, because like yowza. Apparently images on Google also potentially there's a Monty version of this mod, giving him some well endowed chest articles as well. So yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with that, but That's a video for another day. No way in hell.
Number 10, Rockstar Chica. Something about those maracas, I suppose. For some reason, Rockstar Chica is a fan favorite when it comes to attractive animatronics. And there are a lot of people who have created fan art of her, imagining her as a cute blonde anime rocker girl, which is an interpretation of her look. Still, I think this version of Chica is one of the most odd in terms of people finding her hot, but there are people out there that do, so hey, no judgment. I've seen the fan art, I have the proof. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving what we are doing here at Top 10 Gaming, please go check out our newest channel, Most Amazing Top 10 Anime. Click that subscribe button. Do it! Number 9, Mangle. I didn't believe that Mangle could be sexy, to be honest. I had heard the rumblings, and I wanted to be able to deny that they were true. But then I looked up Mangle FNAF sexy. Do that at your own peril, because you will definitely find some very weird, very sexy things. I don't know how I feel about them. Personally, I think I feel uncomfortable. But there are people that really love Mangle out there, perhaps a little bit too much. When it comes to Mangle, I feel like the makeup is a big selling point for fans. That and the idea perhaps that Mangle is an interactive animatronic. I'm going to let you interpret that as you will, but I'm mainly talking about the fact that Mangle was disassembled and reassembled seemingly for fun. Pink is also just a color that I feel a lot of people like. It can be very feminine and very flirty, and this definitely sticks with people when it comes to how they perhaps see Mangle and the animatronic's potential sexiness, playfulness, and possibly feminine side. Number 8, Funtime Foxy. Funtime Foxy is just one of the cutest versions of Foxies that I think we have. I personally agree with this one being on the list, obviously. For me, I really love the coloring of this animatronic, and actually also the coloring of all the Funtime animatronics. Funtime Foxy is also an interesting animatronic in the sense that there is much debate surrounding the gender of Funtime Foxy. Some believe due to the makeup and coloring that Funtime Foxy is female, while others feel that Funtime Foxy due to their bow tie and masculine voice must be male. In Ultimate Custom Night, the animatronic was given male pronouns. For me, I think perhaps Funtime Foxy is kind of like neither and falls somewhere in between those two gender labels. Perhaps Funtime Foxy is a little bit more gender fluid than most animatronics. I've seen people reimagine Foxy as more feminine though, and it's a thing to behold, with fan art imagining a much more curvy version of this animatronic. Number 7, Lefty. I don't know what exactly it is about Lefty, but I just find him kind of handsome. Is that weird? I guess it's kind of weird. Lefty isn't maybe an animatronic that people immediately think about when they think hot, but I do. I think he stands out for me when it comes to good looking animatronics for some reason. I will say I've also seen people transform Lefty and reimagine him as a female, and even that has been pretty spiffy, I gotta say. Something I would love to see is Lefty get an eye patch like Foxy. I feel like he could really rock it. I feel like he'd look quite sporting and quite spiffy with an eye patch. There's also some weird imagery when it comes to Lefty's potential sexiness, with him being highlighted as a deadly sexy character, kind of like a more sinister version of Freddy, like a sexy villain if you will. Although technically in a way all the animatronics I guess are kind of villains for the most part, or at least antagonists, as many of them do try to, you know, kill you in game. Finding any of them, you know, hot is kind of weird, I guess. Number 6, Funtime Chica. I feel like the Funtime animatronics just in general really have just something going on with them. Maybe it's because they have the word Funtime in their names. Is there anything hotter than someone who advertises their love for having a fun time? Personally, I am here for people who just want to have fun. When it comes to Chica, there is also her coloring here to consider, and of course, the fact that it's Chica, but just in a fun time form. We always love Chica, don't we? We are big stands for Chica. Even with Rockstar Chica getting some love on this list, which I think truly speaks for how people are in love with this character. Because to me, Rockstar Chica, I don't know, not as hot. Funtime Chica, more hot though. Number 5, Toy Chica. Obviously, Chica is just one of the hottest animatronics out there. I don't think any of us are going to debate this. If you do want to debate this, meet me in the comments, let's have a debate. But among the different types of Chica animatronics, Toy Chica is considered to be one of the hottest ones out there. It could have to do with her very scantily clad appearance, with her like, she's wearing just like her little, it's like a bib basically, and like little like basically underwear. Or perhaps it's thanks to her ability to, remove her beak. I personally think Chica being able to remove her beak is really creepy, but I could see how other people might feel differently about it because, some people don't find a beak, I guess, hot. I don't know. Toy Chica is also generally depicted as being curvier than most models of the animatronic and has a focus on her eyes when it comes to fan art versions of the character. This is where it gets a little weird. The really weird thing is that this can extend to not just her big blue eye version with her beak and her eyelashes attached, but her other non-beak like pinprick white light eye version where she appears to actually kind of be missing her eyes and only have two little bright white lights peering out of her eye sockets. So I guess some people also find the creepy vibes hot when it comes to Toy Chica, which, okay, I see you. You're seen. Number 4, Roxanne Wolf. Roxanne Wolf is one of the newest animatronics, which is why I'm also a little bit surprised that she would be included on this list, but yet we cannot deny how much love there is out there for Roxy, and I love that. I love that we have gotten new animatronics in Security Breach via Montgomery Gator and Roxanne Wolf, and the people have just completely embraced them and kind of fallen in love with them. I think that's really cool. Roxy comes across initially in the game as being all about herself, but later on we learn that there might be more to her after she becomes shattered, and she expresses great distress concerning that if she isn't beautiful any longer, people won't love her anymore. Oh, there's an amazing sense of connection I think people feel with Roxy that doesn't quite exist with any other animatronics we've seen this far for that reason. I think it's a combo of her punk rock vibes and her complex personality that makes her attractive to fans. Also, she got that hair. Her hair is very glamorous. It's very glam rockerous. Number 3, Ballora. I don't know what it is with people in Ballora, but there are a lot of folks out there who are seemingly obsessed with her. It must be that, severe waist to hip ratio that she got going on. She got very hourglass proportions, I feel. And perhaps her sense of grace, which lends to her, dare I say, beauty. Ballora is also quite feminine, which probably adds to people adoring her both in appearance and in terms of her behavior. Although she can still jump scare you in Sister Location, she's also a lot more timid or reserved, at least outwardly. She can sing and dance, so her talents are another reason people likely find her attractive, and her purple eyes, although we never really quite get to see them. Well, that is unless you're getting jump scared, but I'm not sure if people are here for that. I guess if you find scary things sexy, then you might be into that. Myself personally, not so much. Number 2, Glamrock Freddy. Glamrock Freddy is weirdly attractive. He is super tall, seemingly buff, who also stands as a father figure to Gregory. He's kind, he's compassionate, sweet, and genuine. Plus, he's also a rock star, being one of the glam rock animatronics and their lead singer. What is there not to like there? For some reason, people also love to draw him looking super jacked. He's not only drawn to look buff though, he's also often drawn to look super handsome, usually sporting a chiseled jaw in fan art and a sweet, sometimes shy or playful expression. It makes sense that we'd think Glamrock Freddy is attractive though. He is designed to act as our pal, our friend, and our protector in Security Breach. And for that reason, it makes sense that people would see him in a more attractive light, because he's kind of playing an attractive role there. There is also a lot of fan art with him winking and offering congratulations, saying, "Way to go, superstar," a line of encouragement from the game that he's become pretty famous for, and even in some cases, memeable for. Number 1, Glamrock Chica. Glamrock Chica is definitely one of my favorite animatronics when it comes to the hottest one. That feels really weird to say. Glamrock Chica just seems like she usually has a fun-loving attitude. I mean, even when she's chasing after you and is horrifying, she still kind of seems like fun to me. I don't know, I might not mind being caught by Glamrock Chica. Well, except for the whole jump scare part, and she probably is gonna kill you part. This version of Chica seems to also love pizza, and I feel like she and I could both bond over that. I also really love pizza. The Glamrock animatronics also all come with some of the best designs in regards to their looks, so hey, that's also a bonus. So if y'all couldn't guess the one animatronic that inspired this list, it was Glamrock Freddy, with this fan art by Amon S, in particular being the one that triggered us to make it. So I guess thank you for that. Ominous. Oh my gosh.
In at 10, Five Nights in Anime. Okay, now this isn't exactly a mod for a FNAF game in general, but it's a modification of the characters and the story that will make your significant other question everything if they see you playing it. So you know what, I'm gonna count it, plus I need more for this list. There was not 10 actual mods. I mean, like, hey, I know that people love animatronics, and I know that that love can get a little weird. But even I was surprised to learn that this game existed. And you know what, I've seen a lot of fan art for this franchise. A lot of it, and I thought that I'd seen it all, but apparently I haven't, because you know what? Here's Five Nights in Anime. This game was basically created to parody FNAF, where instead of you being a security guard at a Freddy's restaurant, you're actually hired as the security guard at an anime convention, and it's up to you to watch over these anime-style animatronic versions of the Freddy's cast. Yeah, they're still animatronics. We've got the core cast of animatronics, they're just stylized as well-endowed anime ladies, because why not? I don't know. I think the really weird thing about this game is that how many people seemed to want more of it, and then wanted a version that leads more into the genre itself instead of just being a parody, which is kind of weird. In at 9, Buff Freddy and Morty. And don't think that I'm not gonna be inclusive. For all those who love the dudes, who love the trash men of every universe, Buff Freddy and Morty are here to honestly make me feel just as uncomfortable as any other mods that are on this list. The last time that this mod was updated, it was 6 months ago, and it, quote, added super buff versions of Freddy and Monty, optionally making them even beefier. Created by store_brand_mods on Game Banana, this is certainly something. Although they swear it was just meant to be a small model edit that makes Freddy and Monty a good bit beefier, they blame any other feelings that you get from this mod on a thumbnail for a gameplay video on the Vanamelon channel on YouTube. Which, yeah, I looked at it, it's certainly kinda sus. Okay? It is worth noting, however, that if you do want to install this, the mod requires Unnervum to actually install properly. Not sure what that means. I don't really mod Security Breach, but I guess plenty of you understand it. At least if you're watching this this list for more mods to add to your to download section, I'm sure you'll understand it. Okay, these animatronics are already scarily jacked, though I didn't think you needed to make them any beefier, but you did, so there you go. In at 8, Roxy's Mega Pizzaplex. Are you obsessed with Roxy? If you are, I'm sure any relationship you have is already on the rocks. However, if you really want to drive your obsession into the ground, this Roxy Mega Pizzaplex mod is for you. Created by user Moon on Game Banana, this isn't really that kind of mod, but it's definitely questionable why you'd change the Pizzaplex to be about Roxy. I mean, it could make sense for like after the main story when Freddy leaves, but even then it would be Monty who replaced him. Luckily enough though, they actually come up with an explanation for this and replace Monty with someone else. However, they also replace the original Roxy with Freddy. So if Freddy is still there, I don't know how this works with the lore, but you know what? Oh well. It's not a mod that will make your internet provider worry that you're okay, but it's still a mod that will make your significant other or any prospective partner think twice about what's going on in your head. You know what? Either one. Either head, you know? But yeah, I definitely would question it as well. Chica's Mega Pizzaplex, though. That's understandable. And at 7, Five Nights in Anime 2. And you know what? Just when I thought that those fan games couldn't get any worse, Five Nights in Anime has a sequel. Oh boy. And you know what? They just keep coming. It's like the all-star of FNAF games. This version of Five Nights in Anime is even more bizarre than the first one, and it's really more of the same though, with the same tropes, but this time parodying it. Can you guess it? Yeah, that's right. FNAF 2. My question is though, if this is a parody in the exact same vein, did we really need a sequel for it? Okay, I don't know. But I mean, there might have been a good amount of people asking for it, considering how this is a thing that we did get. Although, I do want to acknowledge the fact that the first Five Nights in Anime game got 3.5 million downloads, then the second one only got 1.8. So maybe you shouldn't have done it. Although 1.8 million, if I got 1.8 million views on a video, that would be insane. Either way, it's better than that one mod for Security Breach, okay, that people keep telling me to download in my Instagram DMs. Don't worry, I'll talk about it later. Yeah, you do realize what platform this is, right? I could not share that. Although, if I did it on like Patreon or something. Does OnlyFans have rules against that? And at 6, Freddy Footbear. Alright, look. Okay, I'm not one to yuck someone's yum. Okay, I'm not here to kink shame. I actually understand the science behind this kind of fascination. The two sections of the brain are so close that like the neural networks can sometimes get crossed. And that's totally 100% okay. Alright, nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not into it, but if you are, that's fine. The only thing I'm questioning here is adding this feature to a giant 80s glam rock themed bear animatronic that's in a video game. That's the part that's kind of strange to me, okay? And the mod author isn't any help, okay? As Seaborg on Game Banana puts it, quote, gives Glamrock Freddy a pair of human feet. No, I won't elaborate. So thanks for the help on that, Seaborg, or Keborg, I guess. I don't know how exactly you would say it. It starts with a CE, so I'm inclined to say Seaborg. But because it's kind of like cyborg, but I'm also inclined to say keyboard because, like, you know, Connor with the C. But you know what? Since you won't elaborate, neither will I. Next number. Halfway through in at number 5, Fat Freddy and Monty. Ah yes, with a ton of people online claiming to love dad bods and only dad bods so that they can get even more followers and attention, you know that I was going to have to include Fat Freddy and Monty. I feel like dad bod Freddy and Monty would have been a better name for this and gotten more clicks, but you know what, it's fine. You can fat shame guys online, right? That's the rule, right? Body shame guys and guys only. Yeah, like 50 Cent, oh man, haha. That dude let go. Anyway, have you heard Lizzo's new song lately? Okay, sorry. Double standards aside, this is quite simply just a beer belly Monty and Freddy. Or as the mod author Moik puts it, Mock, I'm sorry for the horrible pronunciation, quote, another cursed mod makes Montgomery and Freddy look like Discord mods. But at least this way, you fitting in Glamrock Freddy's chest cavity actually kind of makes more sense because it wouldn't just be a 14-inch vertical hole. It's like that but horizontally now. So I think that's kind of more accurate. I mean, I could nearly fit in that, I think. Like my shoulders are like 17 inches long, but like my head certainly isn't, so I feel like I could fit in it if I was facing the right way. Like this is not 14 inches. So like I could fit in it like that. I don't know. So like this way you don't have to be the size of a 4-year-old anymore, Gregory. There you go. But seriously, why do you have this mod installed already? Why? In at 4, Five Nights of Love. Oh yes, another fan game, okay? One that I didn't know existed, but I had a feeling that it would. I figured that if KFC could have a dating sim, then FNAF might have one too, right? And it absolutely does. I'm just waiting for the FNAF console. Ah, you heard me right, alright? It's a FNAF dating sim. You love shipping animatronics with everything, living or not, in the games or not, and you know what? With a human trapped in a suit and a pile of trash, or a human trapped in a suit and a short skeleton from the underworld, you'll still ship it, and it's disturbing. But this time, you get to decide who actually makes the cut in Five Nights of Love. Tracking via cameras, you look at the rooms of a public place, and you'll periodically meet the toy versions of Chica, Foxy, Freddy, and Balloon Boy. With each one of them, the player can have like a heart-to-heart talk, or try to hug them, which is a whole other thing, but you know what, you give them all your love and attention, and then thanks to the treatment, the level of the toy's love towards you will increase. But also your energy will decrease, and then once your energy is out, you have to return to your office, your actual room, or I guess go home, and then come back the next day and start again. Partially though, you can actually like recharge energy at Balloon Boy once a day, I think, if you get lucky. But over this period of 5 days, you gotta make sure as many animatronics love you as possible, which is weird and a whole, I don't want to start any animatronic orgies, alright? That's kind of weird. But you know what? The higher score you get, the more successfully you complete this game. Why is this a thing? Why? Getting close to the end, and at number 3, Vanny Thunder Thighs. I mean, it's something that we knew would happen, and I think that it's something that I've actually joked about in the past about wanting, but like, why would you do this to yourself and us? But like also mostly yourself, because your name is attached to it, and I very clearly am not actually trying to nail Vanny or Vanessa, okay? Chica's my main girl. And you know what? I'm actually glad you kind of held back, okay? This mod could have been worse, okay? You could have taken this to the extreme. You could have made it that she's only wearing the mask. You could have made it that like her suit is skimpy, like basically every Skyrim armor mod ever. And you could have done a lot more, but you just made her thighs huge. And I can appreciate the restraint. I really can. So, Mock again, I think that's how you'd say the name. I'm sorry if I keep butchering it. Well done on restraining yourself from going even harder. Pun absolutely intended.
course. Like, Jesus, like, I can't even deal with this anymore, okay? I think we've seen all of this enough, specifically, especially after seeing the comments on this mod. That one comment was, yikes. Penultimately, in at number 2, thick. Building off the last number, for this number, I'm making my own category of mods, okay? This number is for any mod that makes any of the characters bigger, and in this case, typically thicker, okay? There are quite a few, and honestly, it's concerning. Fat Freddy and Monty, for example, like I mentioned earlier. Also, Thunder Thighs Vanny, but also Thick Vanessa, and then multiple mods that, let's say, enhance Roxy and Chica, sometimes separately, sometimes not. Okay, there are separate, bigger Roxy and Chica mods, but also the one on the Nexus that makes them both bigger in certain areas, as the mod author describes it, okay? Like, I understand that sex sells, okay? I went to advertising school, I get that, but seriously, with animatronics? Like, come on. Chica was already pretty damn thick. you didn't need to pile on. Okay, then Roxy already seemed to have a lot of fans based on her original version as well. Especially given the thumbnail that I did for Gaming Elite when I pretended to censor her. Come on, they're man-made plastic constructed robots, okay? Come on. I know that, like, I joke about Chica and it's probably gonna prevent me from getting a girlfriend at literally any point in my life, especially if they find these videos, but you know what? It's not real. I'm kidding. It's a joke, okay? Or at least I am kidding until the day that Chica's real. But until then, I'm kidding. Alright, so relax. Please, stop. Speaking of which, finally, in at number 1, not modest animatronics. And this is another number that I felt like I had to put on this list, because this is what made me have to do the list in the first place. I can't actually say the name of the actual mod without getting in trouble from the gods above, those being Susan and the rest of YouTube's staff and AI algorithms. However, this not modest or not clothed animatronics mod is very concerning for me, okay? People keep DMing me, trying to tell me to download this mod. No! This mod removes the clothing. I'm putting air quotes on it because, again, it's plastic, okay? And then it leaves both Roxy and Chica exposed. So clearly it's not gonna be a viable option for a YouTube playthrough, okay? And the Patreon isn't even, I'm not stooping myself to that level, okay? But also, why are they so well endowed with this mod? Why? Sweet heavens, why? Okay, at least if you're gonna make this mod, make it realistic, okay? Like, come on. They must be wearing some high-tier compression fabric or something like that, okay? Because when you have this mod, yowza! Plus, apparently, images on Google also show me that there's a Monty version of this mod, giving him, as well, some well-endowed chest articles, which is just... why? What the hell is up with that? Monty doesn't need chesticles, okay?
In at 10, Springtrap and Ballora. This is probably the most sane one out of all of these ships, but sane does not mean not cringe. First of all, Ballora and Springtrap are not married, like I saw at least one comment, but seemingly multiple suggest in the previous ships list. That's not a thing. They're animatronics, and there is no evidence that Ballora is possessed, either by a Mrs. Afton or literally anyone, despite the novels having the fun times be injected with the remnant of the 5 original animatronics. There's no evidence for that in the games. And while Ballora could have been created as a surrogate mother or a representation of a woman that Afton loved or couldn't have or whatever the story ends up actually being, this is still all kinds of weird. Like, what are you people doing? Bro, do you realize that this is a serial killer trapped in a robot suit? Right? Like this isn't just your old run-of-the-mill ship. In fact, none of these are. To put it into a different perspective, you're basically shipping Jeffrey Dahmer with a robot woman. You're shipping Ted Bundy with a fembot, for God's sakes. Like, does that really seem normal to you? Because it shouldn't. In at 9, Springtrap x Matt. Now, I'm not quite sure what this is shipping because there was no way in hell that I was putting that in my search history. But when I looked up Springtrap X, this was one of the suggestions. Springtrap and Matt. Now, I'm fairly certain that this is talking about the Springtrap and the Matt from the Fazbear Frights book Bunny Call, where a video game designer named Matt ends up giving birth to a real-world version of Springtrap. But a load of people guessed or assumed that this Matt was intended to be a reference to Matpat of game theory, which is honestly pretty terrifying. But now, people have begun shipping the characters. And the only reason this is higher on the list instead of lower is because this is only my suspicion. Because again, there was no way in any dimension or universe that I actually clicked that suggestion. No way in living hell would I ever do that. Not if hell froze over, not if pigs could fly, not if butterflies flew out of my ass, not if a dinosaur head popped out of my butt and ate my coffee table. No, not a chance in literally any dimension. And I subscribe to the many worlds theory, much like how you should subscribe to the channel, so technically there should be a dimension where I clicked it, but not this time. No sir. And it ate Springtrap and Vanny. Now, I'd like to point out to the jury that Springtrap is a serial killer trapped inside a robot, but also that they do not exist as of Security Breach when Vanny is introduced, since at this point Springtrap has turned into Burntrap. So, for this to work, there would need to be a load of shenanigans, since for Vanny to be created, Springtrap has to become Scraptrap, and then burn in FNAF 6, releasing his soul to possess the hard drive that gets scanned into Help Wanted, that then takes over our brains as Vanessa in Help Wanted. So, for Vanny to be created, Springtrap has to die. Neither can live while the other survives, as the Harry Potter prophecy says. So, like, how on earth are we supposed to ship Springtrap and Vanny when it's literally impossible? This is why I don't like these kinds of things, okay? It makes me think, and it just seems impossible. Like, I don't want to think about the lore implications of shipping animatronics. This is all kinds of cursed, and it actually physically hurts me. I feel physical pain, like someone stabbed me. And at 7, Springtrap and Mangle. Springtrap and Mangle is one of the ships that was suggested the most in the comments of cringy FNAF ships, and I can see why. Firstly, what the hell? Okay, why would you even consider these two to be a good pairing? Second, isn't Mangle possessed by a dog? Like, didn't we settle on this? Like, William used Mangle and Susie's dog as like a remnant experiment to see if he could actually get robots to be possessed? Or have we forgotten about that for some reason? And I mean, like, a literal animal as well. Like, not he a dog, like he's literally a dog. Like, this is borderline Beauty and the Beast kind of thing going on here. Like, what the living f*** are you people thinking? We're shipping a serial killer who only kills kids and a goddamn actual animal possessing an animatronic. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore. Why are we like this? This makes me want to actually leave the community and stop making FNAF videos. Like, why is this a thing? I don't want to be associated with this. So, because of that, we're moving on. And at 6, Springtrap and Golden Freddy. Now, in the previous ships video, I mentioned how shipping Springtrap with anyone was cringe, but specifically the original 5 animatronics, since each one are one of his victims, and a kid. Golden Freddy is no exception. Remember people, since Springtrap is the combination of Spring Bonnie and William Afton, who by all means is a real person in their reality, this means you are shipping this person with the animatronic version of Golden Freddy, which is filled with the rotting corpse of Cassidy. Cause some consider Cassidy to be the one you should not have killed, and while those who think that are wrong, that would only add yet another layer of to this already messed up ship. You people need to stop this. The only way that it could get worse was if he is shipped with a family member that he ended up causing the death of. Oh wait, yeah. It's not on this list because it was too much for a whole number, but there is also a Springtrap and Crying Child ship that I think needs to be investigated by the authorities or something, because like that's not even like daddy issues, okay? That's mental issues. Plus, again, like the Vanny thing, impossible lore-wise. Halfway through into number 5, Springtrap and Michael. Oh yes, like I said, the only way it could get worse was if he was being shipped with a family member that he ended up causing the death of, and here we are. The Springtrap x Michael ship is one of the most horrific things I've ever witnessed. And honestly, even talking about it, I kinda wanna hurl. And before you get mad at me saying William didn't cause the death of Michael or Crying Child, yes he did. He was the one who superpowered the Fredbear animatronic and gave it the ability to crush a skull. And before you try using the whole, if someone holds your hand under a hydraulic press, it's not the person who made the hydraulic press's fault on me, okay? These two things are entirely different scenarios. In this case, this is like someone pushing me onto a fence that is labeled as a normal fence, but then someone came along and made it an electric fence without anyone knowing. In that case, the person who made the fence electric is at fault. Secondly, William, by killing people and causing his son to feel immense remorse, caused his other son to die. By killing people, he set his fate as being stuck in the FNAF 6 location, one that Michael felt the need to be at to ensure his father's destruction, which caused him to be trapped inside since Henry never provided an exit. And you wanna ship them? Knowing they're related. Y'all are in it for Springtrap and Sans. You know what? I'm gonna say what I said last time I brought this up because honestly, this is worse than almost anything else on this list. Like, why are you shipping Springtrap with Sans? That's not even a character in the series, for God's sakes. That is cringe. How the ever-loving duck does that work? There are like whole Instagram accounts that I've seen revolving around this concept, and I don't know if you're joking or not. Who thought of this? What made this idea come to life? How many recreational substances were you on? Like, Sans is a 2-foot tall skeleton boy, and Springtrap is a dead serial killer who's taken more lives than years Sans has lived. Like, not really, because Sans is like 2 million years old, but that's even more weird. Like, do you see my point? The balance also is just kind of confusing. Okay, it's like someone who's like really short married to someone who's like 6 feet. It's like a 5-foot tall person being married to a 7-foot tall person. How does that even work? What? Like, Sans would need an actual ladder to have a proper conversation with Springtrap, let alone anything else. Like, not even a step ladder. Okay, you would need like an actual ladder. I wouldn't even bat an eye if they were using one of the extending ladders that fire trucks have on the top. Yeah, this is all kinds of screwy. And besides, at that scale, he's below level 2. So what's the point? Getting close to the end in at number 3, Springtrap and Baby. This is even worse than the Michael one, because not only is Springtrap again the father of the girl possessing Baby and the direct cause of her death, but this girl is also knee-high to a grasshopper at the time of her death. Do you realize how absolutely disgusting that is? When I looked up Springtrap X, as I was doing for most of these numbers, this is one of the first ones that came up. And you know what? That's just wrong. This is shameful. It's even worse than the Michael one. I'm not even joking. Who on God's green earth thought that this was a good idea? And before you defend yourself saying it's the character of Baby, firstly, William designed Baby to appeal to his daughter. Secondly, the only version of the Baby character that we know of is the one that Elizabeth is possessing. I feel like everyone who ships this needs a long, hard talk with Chris Hansen and that Russian guy on TikTok who is catfishing adults with a 14-year-old profile and then scaring them so bad they never did it again. Like, holy sweet Jesus, this is messed up. This is one of the 2 things that I hate the most in the world, and I don't even want to think about how people can actually be shipping this for real. So we're moving on. That's not my, I'm mad about this. This is, I'm mad. And ultimately, in at number 2, Springtrap and the Puppet. While this isn't as messed up, okay, there has been an awful amount of fan art about this ship that honestly makes me want to yak. Firstly, this is William's first victim, guys, so like, why would you ship them together? Secondly, the amount of art that I've seen where I have seen them with a baby is too much. Like a literal child, okay? People. These are robots, and one of them is a killer trapped inside of a robot with no vital human recreating organs existing. So, why are you trying to make them have babies? Please, for the love of everything that is holy, unholy, persistent, illegitimate, dark light, whatever you want to praise, for the love of it, please stop. It's wrong, it's horrifying, it's one of the most messed up things that I could think of. However, it still doesn't top our number 1 spot. And you'll see why in a minute. I can't handle this. Why? Why would you do this? This was originally going to be number 1. But I just didn't want to give the people who do ship this the satisfaction of it being on the top of the list. Because even though that would mean that it's the cringiest ship of them all, they ship the Puppet and Springtrap, so clearly they can't understand logic and they would just see number 1 and be happy. And finally, in at number 1, Springtrap X Reader. This feels like a personal attack if I'm being frankly honest, because you know what, if I read one of these I would have been the reader and I don't want that to happen. Number 1. This was the #1 search when I looked up Springtrap X, okay, Springtrap X Reader, and I don't even want to know how that works. Like, I know how it works, but I don't want to know how someone reading a fanfic would end up falling in love with Springtrap, a literal animatronic man serial killer hybrid. What the everlasting, sweet, holy Jesus is going on with this community? These are the kinds of people who send Polaroids to serial killers who are in prison for life. I don't understand it anymore. I need to take a shower, sit on the ground, and cry for the entire weekend because this is just what? How does one even come up with the concept for falling in love with an animatronic man hybrid? If it was Chica, I'd understand. But Springtrap, he is one of the most Rule 34 animatronics out there for seemingly no reason, because I just want death now. The fact that people are falling in love with William Afton's filleted body stuck with a bunch of robotic parts, and I can't get a girl to stick around for more than a couple days is pretty damn ridiculous. Maybe I should, like, finally cave and let this series turn me into the maniac I'm probably going to become, because apparently they get all the girls.